What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony, TGD. And as you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about GenX Gamer, and we're going to ask the question, did he give financial advice? That's right, I was watching some of GenX Gamer's content on his second channel, and one of the videos struck me as a little odd. And so I started asking the question to myself, did he give financial advice? And well, let's not bury the lead. He actually did. He's been giving financial advice for quite some time, but that's not the real question. The real question should be, is it okay that GenX Gamer gave financial advice and gives financial advice on YouTube? I mean, plenty of people do it. They always say it, right? You know, not financial advice, and then they go ahead and give you their financial opinions on things, which is another word for advice. So we're going to take a little look at the video real quick, just a quick little snippet, and then we're going to start discussing the whole financial advice thing. But before we do, let me remind you to like the video, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All right, so we're going to take a look at GenX Gamer's video and what really stood out to me and why this whole journey started.
Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of GenX Gamer. This is for your entertainment only, and let me tell you, if you like coffee, you will be entertained. And today we have a viewer question that wanted to take a look at a particular company.
All right, so he said he had a viewer question that wanted him to take a look at a particular company. This is what stood out to me. This, because we got to really dive deep into the whole act, the Financial Investment Advisors Act. We got to look at that. We got to look at a case law, Lowe versus the SEC. And we got to dive into it, and we got to discover why him saying, hey, a viewer asked me to take a look at a particular coffee company, why that might be an issue, and why the disclaimer of not financial or legal advice really, or at least the financial advice part, not the legal advice part, but the financial advice part, why it's really not necessary on YouTube, and why it doesn't actually save you from anything, because spoiler alert, it's mentioned nowhere in the actual law. All right, now quick disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I am simply an educated layman who knows how to read English and who knows how to relay what he's read to you. This is not legal advice. Obviously, if anything I say strikes a chord with you, makes you question what you're doing with your life, then probably seek out a financial advice, a lawyer, or maybe a therapist, possibly. With that said, I do like GenX Gamer. I consider him an acquaintance, fellow YouTuber. I did let him know beforehand that I was doing this. He wasn't too happy. He was a little upset. He said he didn't like it. Didn't like it too much. I mean, not a lot of people like it when they get called out, but hey, I did give him the heads up. And I was, questioning whether I was going to do this video or not. I've actually been sitting on this for a couple of days now. And ultimately I said, well, if this was DJC, Rab, Mike Mullis, any number of other people who maybe I didn't like, or people who I had no strong feelings towards, I'd definitely make this video, right? Just because I do get along with GenX Gamer, I do kind of like him, I watch his videos, shouldn't hold me back from making this a teachable moment. All right, so we're going to dive right in. All right, so the first thing we got to do, we got to look at the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. Now, this is a 38-page document. So we're not going to go through the whole thing. I know you guys are getting worried. You're getting scared. You're like, oh no, here goes Tony with his big documents. We're not going to look at the whole thing. We're going to scroll down. Page 3 of this 38-page document. Section 202, part 11 here. What constitutes an investment advisor? Because that's what this whole act is about. You see, after the stock market crashed, they got worried. Everybody's giving stock advice, everybody's giving investment advice, and the government said, "Whoa, we gotta put a stop to this, right? We can't just have everybody and anybody giving advice. So we got to put some rules, some regulations down. We got to make sure that this doesn't happen again." So section 202 here, 11 here says, what is an investment advisor? It means any person who, for compensation, engages in the business of advising others, either directly or through publications or writings, as to the value of securities or as to the advisability of investing in, purchasing, or selling securities, or who, for compensation and as part of regular business, issues or promulgates analysis or reports concerning securities, but does not include. Okay, so we're going to stop here real quick and we're going to look at this little chunk. All right, so the for compensation part, this is really important. For compensation, right? Why are we doing that? We want to do it. So, GenX Gamer doesn't get paid for this, right? I don't know what he does outside of YouTube. I don't know his personal life, what his job is, what his real. So we're just gonna make him a blank. He's a blank slate for the purposes of this video. So we're gonna pretend we don't know anything about his personal life, what he does in real life. All right, but on his second channel, the GenX, I think it's investments, GenX money, something like that. On that channel, it's not monetized. Not monetized, doesn't get paid. He does get paid. He is monetized on the primary channel, GenX Gamer. Now, I don't know how that would affect this, having two channels, having him separate his content. Originally, it was on one channel. But let's just pretend that he doesn't have the monetized channel. So he just has the one channel. It's not monetized. So obviously, he's not getting any compensation. So he's good there. He's good there. Right? Now, he is advising, right? And I know he says non-financial advice, but if you go and you talk about stocks and why they're good and why you like them or why you don't like them, or, that's financial advice. Let's just call a spade, right? Let's not dance around it. Let's not pretend because you say not financial advice that when you then advise people why you like a certain thing or why you don't like a certain thing or why this company might be good or not, it isn't financial advice. It is. Now, securities is a broad term, covers a lot of ground. The government has very clearly clarified what it considers securities for the purposes of this particular legislation. Okay, so we're not going to go through that. That's a whole nother document. But let's just, for the sake of this video, stocks do fall in this. So it's a problem right there. Now, the as part of regular business. Okay, so that, again, it's a little tricky because it's not a business, right? It's not a business, but he does do primarily investing stuff, money, financial stuff on his secondary channel. That's what the whole channel's for his financial content. So you could make an argument that is, regular business. And if you have a YouTube channel in which you do financial content primarily and you're monetized, that would be a business. It could be, it's a gray area. It's a gray area. I would consult somebody, a legal expert, but it's probably a gray area. All right. But there are some exemptions. So the following exemptions. So it says, does not include A, a bank. Well, he's not a bank, so we could skip that. B, any lawyer, accountant, engineer, or teacher whose performance of such services is solely incidental to the practice of his profession. All right, so what this means is if your primary job is a lawyer, accountant, engineer, teacher, and through doing your normal job, you happen to mention stocks or something incidentally, right? Like if you're saying, if you're a teacher teaching business and one of your examples happens to be, current Tesla stocks, that's incidental, right? That's not, you're not trying to give them financial advice. It's just through the course of your actual job, you're mentioning financial things. Okay. C, any broker or dealer whose performance of such services is solely incidental to the conduct of his business. Same thing, but with a broker or dealer. D, this is the one now. The publisher of any bona fide newspaper, news magazine, or business or financial publication of general and regular circulation. This is where most YouTubers probably fall in. I know it's not a publication, but published content, YouTube videos, it's probably going to fall under this umbrella right here, this exemption. Now, there was a case, and we're going to take a look at that, and it's going to clarify a little. This is a Lowe versus the SEC. It's a 1985 case. Again, we're not going to dive all the way into it. We're just going to, go down to the important part. Okay. So the background on the case is basically this guy Lowe used to be a financial advisor, had some sketchy stuff happen. He got that taken away. He decides, hey, I'll just start a newspaper and give financial advice in the newspaper. Bingo, bango, I'm all good. He gets brought up on the previous law that we just discussed. This case goes all the way, to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, hey, it's actually okay. It is falls under the publication, exemption. Even though he was selling the newspaper, even though he was getting financially compensated for his financial advice, it was considered okay. And the reason why it was considered okay is following. It says, because the content of the petitioner's newsletter was completely disinterested and because they were offered to the general public on a regular schedule, they are described by the plain language of 202A11D's exclusion. Okay. And goes on to say, the mere fact that a publication contains advice and comment about specific securities does not give it personalized character that identifies a professional investment advisor. Thus, petitioner's newsletter does not fit within the Act's central purpose because they do not offer individualized advice attuned to any specific portfolio or to any client's particular needs. On the contrary, they circulate for sale to the public in a free, open market. Lowe's unsavory history does not prevent newsletters from being bona fide within the meaning of the exclusion. In light of the legislative history, the term bona fide translates best to, quote, genuine. Petitioners' publications meet this definition. Moreover, the publications of general and regular circulation, although they have not been published on a regular semi-monthly basis as it advertised and thus have not been regular in the sense of consistent circulation, they have been regular in a sense important to the securities market. All right, so what that basically means is because he was giving this generalized newspaper content it's not private. You didn't have to join a special club. You didn't have to join a special membership program, a secret handshake. You didn't have to give them money, and this newspaper is only given to a certain subsection of people, right? It was open to anybody could walk up and just buy the publication. So it was open. It was open to the public. It was bona fide. It was genuine. Basically saying that he wasn't trying to fool you. He wasn't trying to trick people or give them bad advice purposefully, right? He was giving the best possible advice he could give, right? He was not, like I said, he was not trying to do a pump and dump. He was not trying to get you to buy bad stock that he was trying to dump himself or something, right? Now, the part where we might have the issue, where it all wraps back together to the GenX video, is now his newsletter was not considered individualized advice, right? It says they did not offer individualized advice attuned to any specific portfolio or any client's particular needs. I think this is where GenX would run into some trouble because if you remember from the start of this video, where we watched the start of his video, he says that a viewer asked him about a particular brand of coffee and whether it was good. We're going to get the exact words, right? We don't want to get the wrong words because we know how people
humans, and welcome to another episode of GenX Gamer. This is for your entertainment only, and let me tell you, if you like coffee, you will be entertained. And today we have a viewer question that wanted to take a look at a particular company.
All right, so a viewer question wanted to take a look at a particular company. So he's making this video in response to a viewer question. So this video, although open to the public, could be considered advice directed at one specific individual. Now, we're assuming that this individual exists, right? We're assuming that he's not making this up as a story in order to, talk about a particular coffee company. We're assuming that he is actually being genuine and that there is a viewer. A viewer did ask, hey, what do you think about this coffee, Dutch Brothers Coffee? And then GenX goes and investigates and looks through it. So if that's the case, this could be considered individualized financial advice, right? Just because the general public can hear it, just because others can also get that advice, it does not mean it's not individualized, right? The purpose of the video was probably for this one individual, and anyone else who sees the video is incidental, right? It's like if I'm giving you advice, you say, hey, Tony, can I have some financial advice about this particular stock? And I give it to you, and someone else overhears me. That does not make it no longer personalized advice. That doesn't be like, oh, it's okay now because other people can hear me talking because I'm really loud, right? If I start shouting the advice so others can hear, it doesn't make the advice no longer individualized, okay? Like I said, he might be in the clear because this particular channel is not monetized. Again, it could be iffy because his other channel is monetized, and this is part of like the GenX Gamer network, if you will. So that could be an issue. Seems to be a lot of gray area. Going forward, if I was GenX Gamer, going forward, I would not take any questions about particular companies, stocks, securities. Leave everything broad and generalized. Hey, if somebody said, hey, what do you think about this coffee? He could make a video about that coffee, but don't be like, hey, some viewer wanted to know about this coffee, so that's why I made a video, right? No, just start talking about, hey, let me talk about some coffee companies, or hey, let me, give generalized advice about investing in coffee or coffee companies in general. Again, there is nothing in the law that says you need to put a disclaimer, not financial advice. It's good that he does that. It's nice that, he lets people know, hey, go talk to a financial advisor. Don't take anything I say as gospel. But really, like I said, because of the publisher's exemption in the law, he should be okay as long as the videos are not specific to any individual, as long as the videos are general to the general public, free to everybody, as long as they're not behind a paywall, as long as you don't have to be part of a club, part of a membership program to get the video, part of a Patreon, you're not hidden behind a Patreon paywall. That's when you might end up running into more issues. For this particular one, like I said, gray area, maybe cut out that part of the video. Maybe next time don't mention that it is a viewer requested video. But let me know what you think. Am I reaching here? Am I being too overbroad? Do you think that this falls within the exemption? Do you think because he's not monetized on this particular channel, he's okay? Do you think that perhaps because it is a viewer request that he might run into the problem that he's actually giving financial advice to somebody? Let me know in the comments. And as always, love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.